Hello and welcome to our LinkedIn Live, Birmingham Hospice, Driving Efficiencies through the use of Copilot. My name is Natasha Bradley, Director of Empower M365, and I'm so pleased to be joined by Paul from Birmingham Hospice. Paul, can you just introduce yourself, everyone, please?
Hi everybody, my name is Paul, by the way, and I am the Chief Executive of Birmingham Hospice. I've been in post for about 12 months now, and it's probably one of the best jobs I've ever had.
Amazing. Well, you do some amazing work, and that sort of brings on to our first question, Paul. So, everyone knows hospices are human-centric, but how does technology support you?
So one of the key things we've learned over the past sort of 12 months, probably even a bit longer since COVID, is you cannot replace the human touch in healthcare, and in particular in a hospice. We also know with the funding challenges that actually, we've got to be careful and clear about what we spend our money on. So our mantra as part of our strategy has been using digital technology to enhance patient care, not to replace the human touch. So all the work that we're doing with digital innovation in the hospice is about supporting our clinicians to do more, reducing the tasks that they don't need to do, because it can be done easier through AI or other forms of digital technology. But it's absolutely not about replacing the interaction that our staff have, our people have with the patients, their families, and obviously the system as a whole.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point, isn't it? It's there to drive efficiencies, not to replace, and it has no feelings. It cannot replace humans, and everything we say, it's always about human in the loop. So, and I concur with that, 100%.
It's about giving
what
time.
actually inspired the hospice to explore Microsoft Copilot?
So I guess my experience up until about last year was NHS, of course, which has been on a massive digital innovation journey for a couple of decades now, with EPR systems and all those things. And so when I came into the hospice, what was clear was that we needed to change some of our very manual practices, because that's the way we've always done it, and use digital to enable our teams to have the time to do what they needed to do face to face with people. Clearly, I've done some work previously with digital companies. Natasha, that's how we met originally, and it was about what can we do on a small scale to start to introduce our teams to the benefits of using digital to speed up processes, to make the sort of the day-to-day BAU processes disappear, because we use digital to enable them. You'll always need the person to check it, obviously, but actually it's about how can we use digital to give those people more time to care, make their life easier, to deliver what they came here to do, which was care for patients.
Yeah, and I suppose, how do you see that aligning to the long-term strategy and the vision for the hospice?
So one of our strategic objectives for the next 3 years is, digital innovation and doing things differently. We can't carry on doing the things we've always done because of the funding challenges, both cost of living, NHS funding, all of those things. So in order so we can keep the services going, we've had to invest in digital. We've had to make sure that we're doing things in the modern world. So we used to send letters. We're now looking at doing an app which actually will send information directly to patients. Emails will still need letters, because some people aren't digitally enabled, but actually trying to use those efficiencies as best we can. So the innovation is a really key part of our 3-year strategy to allow us to do things quicker and more speedy. And actually really important is to communicate with patients. Our age demographic in the hospice, can range from 22, 23 to 85, 87, right. So using WhatsApp, using email, using the ability to talk to somebody digitally is really important in the modern day world, when that's how people are used to talking rather than via letters.
Yeah, and I suppose it's probably quite a challenge to balance technology, cost efficiency with compassionate care. How do you tackle that?
I think compassionate care is however the person receiving it feels about it. So, it's not about saying you've all got to have letters or you've all got to have digital or we're going to talk to you via a bot or a FaceTime. Actually, it's about being clear about what that individual person needs and wants to be communicated. So that open and honest conversations, not only, the work that we do around planning end of life, all those things, it's part and parcel of our open communication with people about how do you want to be communicated with, and that's really important. That's the compassionate care bit. It's the ability to have a conversation, and then the tools facilitate that in a way that makes the patient or the person, the family, even in hospice care, feel engaged in what's going on and owning their journey. That's the important bit. They own the journey, and some people, particularly younger people, can own their journey much more by the use of FaceTime and WhatsApp and texting. And we're just developing an app at the moment which will allow that communication to happen via WhatsApp or digital technology, because that's what the younger people want. That is compassionate care. That is compassionate care because it's individually based.
Yeah, and I think that's wonderful to hear, and I love that what you've said there about the patient, the families, all at the heart of whatever you do, and technology is enabling that. I think that's a real good message there.
And that's the whole point, isn't it? About using these technologies. If we can't afford to employ more people, because of the economy, and as a charity, all charities are struggling at the moment. Actually, it's about allowing our teams to do the very best they can with what they've got, and that's where digital comes into its own, isn't it? Speeding up the communication, speeding up the information that flows between us in our headquarters or in our buildings to the patient who's at home. The digital technology, along with the telephone and the letter, are all part of the way in which we do that.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. So, Paul, specifically, you've got a few operational challenges like most hospices and charities, but when you were looking at Copilot, what were you looking to deliver in terms of measurable outputs? What challenges were you to overcome?
Again, it's very much the same as within the clinical team. So obviously we've been trialing Copilot with, a couple of us originally, me in particular, around how can we ensure efficiency? How can we drive improvement? How can we make sure we respond to emails, respond to calls, know the priorities? So we've been using that, testing that to try and work between me and some of the admin team and some of the other directors to try and make sure we're linked together in a way that means all of our priorities are the same. Trying to reduce the admin burden on our admin teams, using the summaries at the end of meetings to send to everybody, so everybody's really clear about the outcomes of meetings and what the actions are in real time, rather than waiting for somebody to type them into the actions, to get the actions then checked. So all of that takes about a week. With Copilot, actually, as soon as the meeting's finished, you can download the summary, you can check the summary, and you can email it out all within 24, 48 hours. It's about keeping the speed going of decision making and working together.
And would you say, from your own perspective, that's one of the sort of key benefits you've seen in this early sort of stages of your Copilot journey? Is that
my 7 a.m. daily download of priorities and emails means that I spend the first half hour of the day just checking that my list of things to do today is right. Is there something I haven't answered from the day before? So it's that efficiency. It tells you the urgent things you need to do. So it just makes me more efficient for the day. By making me more efficient for the day, it then makes everybody else more efficient for the day, because then the list of priorities are really clear and available to use. We're using it for our minute downloads, so our boards, our sub-board committees, our exec team. It's making us more efficient because things are done much quicker than waiting for someone to type it out, to check it, all of that. So it's really about that efficiency and keeping the speed of decision making going.
Yeah, and I suppose this one's sort of sitting on the fence, depending on which side of the fence that you sit on. But do you see potential for Copilot AI to support, not just operational efficiencies, but helping with that clinical decision making, especially in your sort of hospice scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen AI in healthcare for a very long time, whether that's the reporting of X-rays or CTs, that very transactional element to it. There's definitely an appetite for using AI in the hospice sector. We've talked about, the recording of letters in real time, rather than, again, a little bit like Copilot, but with a digital, with a health system. So all of these things are coming in place. In the hospice, I think we're probably a little bit further behind than where the NHS is in doing this. So our structures, our safety nets, our governance probably isn't in place yet. But there's no doubt that the AI and the digital will start to soon filter down into the hospice world, even if it's not there it's probably there in individual hospices, because they'll have been developing, but as a system, something we're not good at is sort of bringing ourselves together as a system. I think we're absolutely on a journey. We're looking to appoint a digital trustee to our board, because we need the governance in place. We need to understand what this looks like, because all of us are, where I use it, I'm also very nervous of it at the same time, because you don't understand it. So having that professional to make sure the governance is right is going to keep everybody in the right place, particularly clinicians, with privacy of data and all of those things. So it's probably there some places. We're definitely interested, which is why we're doing the Copilot work. It's why we're doing the work with a technology company to develop an app. And we're really keen to see what next will be. And we're also really keen to champion that in our hospice, if we can make sure the governance is right.
And I think that's one of the things that we've had this discussion before about governance and making sure that that's in place. So once that's in place, there'll be no stopping you. You'll be forward quicker than anything. So as well as your app and you've got Copilot, and you're hiring your new role, what's next for your sort of digital journey, other than what you just discussed? Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're slowing down, I think, for 26, 27, not because it's not the right thing to do, but we're just going on to an e-rostering system, which is something that, again, the NHS has done for a long time. We're just about to implement our digital app to aid communication and drive efficiency in our nurse specialist team. We're just doing Copilot. So we kind of need some space to reflect on just how those three things will make the hospice a more efficient place, and what that will look like. If we can get the new digital trustee, we'll be sort of, horizon scanning about what those kind of things will look like, what we need to be involved in. But I think we've spent this year trying to get us into a more mature digital place. We need to embed that in and make sure it's working before we layer other things on, because then you get change fatigue. Too much going on. But that doesn't mean, again, as part of our strategy, years 2 and 3, with our digital journey, we'll be looking at what we'll be doing in years 2 and 3 once we've embedded these change projects that we're doing at the moment.
Well, if you think about the change that you're going through with what you just explained, once they are embedded, the value that brings to you is phenomenal. So that will be a massive step forward to where you are today.
And it's things like, once we've got this baseline right, we're looking at our HR systems. So now we're looking at HR systems that integrate with, Allocate, and they'll integrate with Copilot, because actually then we can start managing our organisation through the infrastructure, rather than passing bits of paper for annual leave or passing bits of paper for sickness. Actually putting all this together will make us more efficient, and then we'll be able to see what's next once all those basic processes have been put in place. And that, I think, that's the key for the hospice at the moment, just bringing ourselves up to a baseline that we are becoming digitally mature enough to build the complex things into it once we know everybody's in the right place.
Yeah, no, sounds good. And Paul, if there's hospices listening to this, what top tip would you give them for starting either a digital journey, AI journey? What would be your sort of top tip for them?
Just put a foot forward. Just take a step forward. It's not as scary. Well, actually, no, it is scary because it's a massive change. It is scary because it's a massive change, and actually, it's not necessarily about the system, is it? It's actually about the cultural change that goes with implementing a system, managing the people, people will say, oh, we can't use digital. Yet on their phones, they'll be doing banking and emails and Facebook, you know. So it's just that natural scared to put a step forward with the change management, but spend enough time talking to people, spend enough time engaging with people, demonstrating, particularly with your senior team, the benefits of doing these things and how it will release time to care, release time for us to do the big ticket things that we need to do, because the transformational agenda in the hospice world is huge. Actually, we want to be spending our time doing those big picture, big ticket, changing the dials on care, rather than passing bits of paper around the organisation and then going, oh my God, we've lost a bit of paper. If it's all in the system, it means it's auditable, it means you can't lose it, it makes everybody more efficient.
Perfect. Well, Paul, thank you so much for your time today. It's been wonderful to speak to you. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you all again soon. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.